Good morning, guys. Ryan here from Husky Moving, Arlington, Massachusetts. We're a full-service moving company. We do commercial and residential. I was gonna say real estate. We don't do real estate. Could use the money. Don't do real estate. Commercial and residential moving. We do artwork mounting, TV mounting. We do disposal. We do handyman work. We do a little bit of, tiny bit of like light plumbing. If it involves the house, we try to get it done. What I want to talk to you guys about is a job I had yesterday. I got booked to do a job with another guy, and I just want to talk to you a little bit about the differences in the way I showed up versus the way he showed up. And I want to be real clear about something. I want to be real clear before I get going about two things. I'm significantly older than this person, and that has a lot to do with it. Because as I've gone on, I've learned some things that I didn't know when I was younger, or I didn't think were important when I was younger, and that's important. And the other thing I want to be real clear about is I'm in no way am I shitting on this kid. He's a young kid. He's fantastic. He's great to work with. I've actually worked with him a number of times. I really like him. He's a good person and a good worker. So this is in no way meant to shit on him. It's more just to present two different scenarios and have you come away with a conclusion of if you were a customer on the other end of it, which would you be more likely to gravitate towards, whether subconsciously or consciously. Okay, so yesterday we got booked on a job. We're doing what I would consider to be a relatively simple job. She hired me and then she hired another guy because I was working solo yesterday. He was working solo yesterday. She needed two people. In retrospect, it could have been done by one person. I actually told her that multiple times. She didn't want to take the chance, which is fair. And so she hired this other guy. Anyway, so we get booked at 3 o'clock to be there at 3 o'clock. I show up in my full out form, so like matching gear from head to toe. At roughly, I actually was there at like 2:45, but I just went around the corner and sat around the corner in my car. And then at roughly like 2:55, I pulled into her driveway, so I was there on time. And so I get there, and I've worked with this woman a number of times before, and so we've gotten to a point where we're pretty friendly. I've probably done like, I don't know, maybe like 8 or 9 jobs for her. Actually, now that I think about it, it might be more than that. It doesn't matter. I've done a bunch of jobs for her. We're what I would consider to be on friend terms now. So we're talking, we're shooting the shit, and I kind of like to get things going. So I pretty quickly I was like, all right, well, why don't we while we're walking, why don't you show me what needs to be done? And she started taking me around and showing me what needed to be done. We went to a pod. We went to a second floor. We went to third floor. She showed me everything, and then I started moving because now it's time for me to go. The other guy's not here yet. At this point, it was probably like, I don't know, maybe like 3:05 or something. And we were supposed to be there at 3 o'clock, which is not a huge deal. I'm aware that in the service industry, timing can be difficult for sure, but we'll get to that later on. So I just start going. And because my whole thought process is like, I don't really care what this other person is doing or is not doing. It doesn't impact me in the least. I'm there to do a job. My job is to get this job done, A to Z, and everything else past that point really doesn't concern me too much. Like, if there's no other guy there, then I'm not going to let it worry me because it's not going to do anything for me. I'm worrying about it is not going to do anything. What's going to do something is me worrying about how I'm going to get the job done in his absence in that moment. That's what's going to help me. So that's what I try to focus on. So I start going. We had to disassemble a couple of beds. We had to move a couple of beds. We had to reassemble a bed frame. We had to take some stuff out to trash. We had to move some bags into like an attic space. Blah blah blah. And then they wound up being some additional like random tasks because we basically kept asking her what needed to be done once he got there. But the point of the story is, so I get going and I start doing my jobs, and I start pulling 2 box springs, a mattress, a bed frame down to the curb. This gentleman is not here yet. And again, I want to be real clear about something. I actually really like this guy. He's a great worker. I really, really like him. This is not meant to shit on anyone. It's not. It's just meant to show that your actions have repercussions on how people view you. That's the entire point of the video. The guy's still not there yet. I don't even know what time he wound up showing up because I didn't look at my watch. It was definitely bare minimum 15 minutes later than he said he was going to show up, which again, in his mind, probably doesn't seem like a big deal. And in the big scheme of things, actually really isn't a big deal. But what you need to keep in mind is that woman was paying for 2 guys starting at 3 o'clock. That was the agreed upon contract we had all signed with each other. We all said, does 3 o'clock work for all of us? We all said yes. So if she's assuming we're going to be there at 3 o'clock, now she's paying one guy to work. Theoretically, she's also paying for the inefficiencies of that guy not having a partner, meaning now I have to do everything on my own, which theoretically slows things down, and she's paying for that. So that is, that's an issue. So it's like, I don't know, let's call it like 3:15, 3:20. This gentleman comes in. He comes in. He's not wearing any kind of uniform. He's wearing street clothes. He's wearing what I think like jeans, mismatched T-shirt, oversized coat. He's got headphones around his neck. The difference, I guess my point is, the difference is just, it's staggering when someone walks in like street clothes versus someone who walks in like an outfit or a uniform. It looks very different. It looks significantly less professional, obviously. And again, this is not meant to shit on anyone. It's just the realities of the business we're in and the world we're in, and the fact that people judge people based on appearances. It just is what it is. I mean, you could fight it if you want to, but you're not going to win. It's been going on for 1,000 years. So he comes in, and to his credit, comes in, starts asking questions, starts working pretty much immediately, and we work really well together. We kind of stay out of each other's way, but he's working doing one thing, and I'm working doing another thing, and by default, we're not butting into each other and being inefficient by like not being able to move. It's working out really well. He's asking questions. He's doing certain tasks. I'm getting tools. He's moving things off a frame, blah, blah, blah. Everything goes really well. The job goes really, really well. All I want you to do is to think through the process of, in the future, when this woman needs to call someone, who is she most likely to call? And I want you to be that person. This is not meant to give myself a trophy, although I know it sounds like that's what I'm doing. My goal is that I want you to think through, if you haven't already done so, I want you to think through this issue of how am I coming across to customers, because this is something I come across all the time with people that I interact with in forums, for example, or friends of mine, or guys I've met out on jobs, and we talk back and forth about like, okay, well, I was on a job and this wound up happening, and the customer was upset and blah, blah, blah. And then you'll talk down the line and you'll start to ask some probing questions, and you'll start to realize why the customer got upset. And this is an instance where this woman was not going to get upset. I know this woman, she's a sweetheart. She doesn't have it in her to get upset. You would really need to piss this woman off a lot to get her upset. I think I know her well enough at this point to say that. She's just a kind person who doesn't have that evil inside of her. But having said that, it doesn't mean that going forward she's not going to gravitate away from hiring you. So here's the things I would look at, for example. And if I was talking to this person in confidence, here's what I would say to him. I said, like, all right, so you said you were going to be there at 3 o'clock. You didn't get there at 3 o'clock. Not only were you not there at 3 o'clock, you were kind of like, it wasn't like 3 minutes late. You were pretty significantly late. And I don't even know what time it was. It was definitely 3:15 or after. So it was at least 15 minutes late. And I'm pretty sure it was more than that. It's a bad look when you walk in late, regardless of what the reason is. Like, the woman doesn't care what the reason was. She just doesn't. And you don't have to love that. You don't have to love the realities of the business that we're in. But the realities of the business that we're in are the realities, and they're not going to change. So again, you can either fight them or you can work with them. What I would say to this gentleman would be, okay, so what happened in the prior incident? What happened in the time before you got to this job? What were you doing? What happened? What was the scenario? Most likely, he probably had a job ahead of this. And what I probably would have told him would have been, if you had a job ahead of this, you probably should have erred on the side of caution and booked the job for a 3:30 start time instead of a 3 o'clock start time. And that would have given you an extra half an hour to get here. And if it meant you had an extra half an hour and you had to sit by the side of the road for 15 minutes, that's what I would have advised you to do, because it would have looked a lot more professional showing up right at the time you said you were going to show up than showing up late. The other thing I would have said to him in confidence, assuming we were friends and I had the ability to talk to him, is just, get yourself some sort of a uniform. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. You can just get like gray sweatpants and like a matching gray shirt, spend $15 and put your logo on there or something. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't need to be coming in like Ronald McDonald in a clown suit or anything, but just something so you look professional, so you're not wearing street gear. Is there any problem with wearing street gear? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Would I want to do it? Probably not. for a variety of reasons, just because I think it looks more professional whenever you have a uniform, no matter what the uniform is, and no matter what your business is. It doesn't matter whether you're renting cars at Hertz or you're out at Husky Moving. Doesn't matter. You just look more professional when you have a thought out, some sort of a uniform with like matching colors and blah, blah, blah. So I would advise them to do that for sure. Like that's something simple you could do. It probably cost you maybe $100, and I don't think it would cost you that much. But then like the larger issue would just be like, if I was sitting this guy down and if I was sitting the customer down and we all had a couple of drinks and we were talking about this in confidence, and I asked this woman, I can almost guarantee you, whether she admitted it consciously or subconsciously, she would be more likely to hire the person that showed up on time in the uniform, who brought in branded equipment, blah, 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 and has done so over an extended period of time, as opposed to the guy who showed up late in street clothes. Again, not trying to shit on this guy. That's not the point of the video. The point of the video is I want you, if you're watching this, to just think through what kind of a message are you sending to your customer when you walk through that door. Are you showing up as a fully branded professional? Or are you showing up as a guy in street clothes who looks like he's getting his business off Craigslist? And if you are, that's okay. It's not like we don't, the goal is not to shit on anyone. The goal is to just get you to think through, like, can I make improvements in what I'm doing? Could I get a jacket for wintertime that makes me look really professional? Could I get branded hats? Could I get t-shirts, sweatpants? Do my sneakers match my outfit? Could I do that? Is that something feasible I could do? Is that a worthwhile investment of time and energy for me to do? What do I need to do to show up on time? Is my car relatively clean when I show up, or does it look like I haven't washed it in 6 months? Do I have the proper equipment for my job, or am I showing up with what I would consider to be like, just kind of like rookie shit? These are all things I would want you to just give some thought to, guys. The appearance, how you're showing up for your customers, and whether how you're showing up is going to consciously or subconsciously cause them to call you first next time, or if they'd be more likely to call someone else. All right, so give that some thought. I hope this was helpful. Again, want to just end this on a positive note. Not meant to shit on anyone. That's not the goal here. There were certainly days in my life where I showed up with tank tops with the arms cut off to here, like ripped pieces of cloth just hanging down my thing. Like, I've been through that time in my life. I did it. So I'm not shitting on anyone. This is just trying to get you guys ahead of the game. If you're 25, I don't want you thinking like a 25-year-old like I was. I want you thinking like a 35-year-old. Again, so if you found any content in here that was valuable, guys, please like and subscribe as always. And if you need to get a hold of me, info@huskymoving is the huskymoving.com, is the email address. huskymoving.com is our website. All right, give us a like and follow on our social media channels, guys. Thank you.